Wouldn't it be wonderful to save thousands of dollars on your historic home renovation? I'm here to help you see if you can qualify for up to 20% on your historic home renovation or up to 25% on your historic barn or carriage house renovation. I'm Alicia and I'm renovating the General Worth House. I help baby boomers, historic home enthusiasts, and Gen Xers decorate, renovate, and personalize their historic homes into meaningful places to live. If you're passionate about historic homes, please subscribe. Now, let's jump in and see how you can benefit from historic home tax credit programs. Today we're going to be talking with Madeline from Castle about tax credits. Let's talk about how that house that you're living in that needs renovation may or may not happen based on what the process looks like for you. Madeline's going to tell you how historic tax credits can help you with this process.
That's right. So New York State offers two different historic tax credit programs, and they'll probably be applicable to all of you. Number one is the Historic Homeowner Credit Program, which offers 20% back on your qualified renovation expenses. And that can be everything from carpentry, electrical, paint, etc. There's also the Historic Barn Credit Program. So if you have a historic barn or carriage houses count as well, or even just a barn or carriage house that was built before 1946, then the state also offers a program to give you 25% of your qualified renovation expenses back. So those are the two programs we want to talk about today and walk through how you can qualify and apply.
Okay, so this all sounds great, but I think everyone's burning question is, who qualifies for this?
Well, any homeowner can qualify if their building is qualified. So for historic barn credits, the main factor is if your barn or carriage house was built before 1946. For historic homeowner credits, then your home has to be either listed on the Federal Register of Historic Places or your home has to be in a registered historic district. We're in the city of Hudson right now. Much of Hudson is a registered historic district, and there are actually historic districts all over the state. So you might be in one even if you don't already know it, but a good way to check, you can go to getcastle.com/save, and we actually just have a little lookup tool. You can drop your address in there and it'll tell you if you're in a historic district.
So even if your house is built like 1960, 1970, if it pops up on your search,
that's right.
then you know if you qualify, which is a really great thing.
That's right. For the historic home, there's not 1 year cutoff. It actually just depends because the state also wants to preserve kind of neighborhoods represent different architectural eras. So it could be in the 70s even, or it could be in the 80s. It just depends. So it's always good to check.
Yeah, people will look and say, oh, great, New York State has this great program. I can't do it. My house isn't old enough. So that's why this is such a great tool for everybody that's interested in doing some renovation work. We haven't talked about what projects qualify, which I think is really important because you may think it's more limited than it is, or maybe it's limited. We'll ask Madeline.
Definitely. Well, if you're for the historic home credit, we like to think of it really what is a capital improvement. So is this carpentry, plumbing, electrical, things that are going to add to the value of the home. Those typically qualify, although it also has to be approved by your local historic commission if you're in a historic district often. But those typically qualify. Not so much the curtains, although some electrical fixtures will qualify or plumbing fixtures. But that's one way in which Castle can also support is help you understand what is a qualified and what's not a qualified expense. For your historic carriage house or barn, it's a little bit narrower, more focused on structural improvements, but still things like siding, roof, foundation repair, all of those things are qualified expenses.
So I have one more question for Madeline that might be of interest to those of you who do not reside in New York State. Madeline, if I were to live in Massachusetts or New Hampshire, is there a projected time, or can you give us a nod as to when you might be offering this service outside of New York State?
Yeah, well, so unfortunately, Castle is currently only serving homeowners in New York State, although we do have plans to expand nationally.
Internationally?
I know, sorry, one step at a time.
UK on here.
One step at a time.
Sorry, guys.
But yeah, hopefully we'll have more information to share on our expansion plan. I would say in the meantime, if you live in Massachusetts, if you live in Connecticut, those states also offer historic credit programs. So yeah, always happy to kind of just like share information about them, even if we can't support on the actual application today, but hopefully we'll have more to share about that.
That's great. And then the last thing is, to tee up for our next video, we're going to be walking through, or rather Madeline's going to be walking me through, how to fill out an application. do's and don'ts. And I unfortunately keep falling into the don'ts, but she catches it for me. So anyway, we look forward to seeing you on the next video.
Yeah.
And stay tuned. And if you want to save this, just hit the save button so you can keep it for reference going forward. And we would love to hear your comments. Any questions,
Yes.
we'll share them amongst ourselves. The answers will be coming from her probably.
Yes.
But anything else to add, Madeline?
No, looking forward to diving into more details in the next video.
Hope to see you soon.